It's 10 a.m. on WKYT Midmorning. A well-known Kentucky lawyer at the center of a congressional investigation is now in jail. We'll have details on the arrest of attorney Eric Kahn.
We've learned one person was killed in a crash on Lexington's New Circle Road.
This is WKYT Midmorning.
But what a game it was, as you were saying.
Pretty amazing, yes.
Yeah, and there's next year for the other Wildcats.
That's right, but that ended with a lot of
That's incredible.
Yeah.
We'll show that to you here in just a little bit. You can't catch it enough. You've probably seen it. It's good to have you with us. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. It is chilly out there.
It is. I mean, this is April. You wouldn't know it. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Yeah, and typically we're around 60 degrees. We were above that yesterday, about 5 to 10 degrees. We're going to be below that, about 10 to maybe even 15 degrees in some spots. But yeah, it's going to be a cool day. We're at 38 degrees right now in Lexington. A good looking day, and still 34 there in Covington, just above that 32-degree reading in Maysville at this moment. Upper 40s, lower 50s, much cooler. The focus of the forecast is really tomorrow and off into your weekend, because those 3 or 4 days are going to be pretty active. I'll show you what you can expect out of that and when coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you. In the news this morning, a well-known Eastern Kentucky attorney has been arrested on federal charges. But because it's a federal case, we're having a difficult time this morning tracking down many details.
Now here's what we do know. Eric Kahn was booked into the Pike County Detention Center last night. Investigators say he's being held for the FBI on numerous charges, including destroying records in a federal case and conspiring to retaliate against a witness. Kahn was the target of a 2013 congressional investigation and is accused of using fraudulent information to secure disability benefits for hundreds of clients. We expect to learn much more when he's arraigned today in federal court.
Investigators are still working to identify the 5 people who were killed in a helicopter crash in the Smoky Mountains. The sightseeing helicopter crashed yesterday less than a mile from a large outlet mall in Sevierville and about 3 miles from Dolly Parton's famous Dollywood theme park. One man who heard the crash says he and his neighbors swam across a river to try and help the victims, but it was too late.
I was in my house and I heard a big explosion. Me and my neighbor both did, and we ran outside and we saw that the helicopter crash more or less was on the ground already. And we saw and then we heard a second explosion. Then we saw the pilot roll out and burning alive. You know, sad.
The FAA and the NTSB are now investigating the cause of the crash.
One person has died after a crash on New Circle Road in Lexington. The driver of the car lost control and slammed into an excavator near Old Frankfort Pike yesterday. The passenger side of the car was damaged severely. Police say 2 people were in the car at the time. The coroner says a 35-year-old man in the car died at UK Hospital shortly after the crash. The man's name has not been released. The coroner is still trying to contact the victim's family.
Lexington police say a man has life-threatening injuries this morning after accidentally shooting himself in the neck. The shooting happened about midnight at the victim's home on Venetian Circle off Appian Way. Police were back at the man's home this morning, removing some of the man's pets. In Richmond, the Red Cross is helping a woman whose home was damaged in an overnight fire. That fire started about 11:30 on Forest Hill Drive. Firefighters say the woman who lives there was at work at the time. The roof of the house has a lot of damage, but firefighters do not think the home will be a total loss.
Funeral arrangements have been made for a Kentucky native and her husband who were killed in the terrorist attacks in Brussels. Stephanie and Justin Schultz were in the Brussels airport when bombs exploded 2 weeks ago today. Their remains arrived at Bluegrass Airport Sunday night. The Patriot Guard riders escorted them to the funeral home. Family members say they're now preparing to say goodbye.
It just touches my heart to know that our baby girl is back in Lexington and close, and she's actually going to be buried in a site next to my mother, her grandmother, and it's like I can feel my mother enfolding her in her arms.
Visitation for the couple will be from 3 until 8 on Thursday and from 10 until 2 on Friday at Southland Christian Church on Harrodsburg Road. The funeral will be Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock also at the church. Primary voters head to the polls in Wisconsin today to decide who should be their party's presidential nominee.
The latest polls are spelling trouble for the front runners on both sides. Don Champion has the latest now on campaign 2016.
On the eve of the critical Wisconsin primary, Ted Cruz reminded supporters what's at stake.
A victory here tomorrow will resonate across this country, will change the outcome in states to come all across this country.
A Cruz win today will increase the chances of a contested GOP convention in July. The latest CBS News poll shows him ahead of Donald Trump by 6 points in the state. Monday, Trump's wife Melania made a rare appearance on the campaign trail, trying to rally support.
No matter who you are, a man or a woman, he treats everyone equal.
We have millions more votes than Cruz. We've beaten him in most of the states.
On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton all but conceded Wisconsin Monday. Her campaign sent out a fundraising email saying, quote, "We're down in almost every poll in Wisconsin. Tomorrow's primary is going to be a tough fight." Bernie Sanders hopes today gives him momentum.
If we win here, we're going to have a bounce going into New York State, where I think we can win.
Clinton still holds a significant lead over Sanders in delegates, but lags far behind him in fundraising. Don Champion, CBS News.
And polls close in Wisconsin at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Clinton and Sanders have agreed to debate each other next week in New York, which will hold its primary on April 19th.
With the deadline nearing, Kentucky lawmakers have not made any progress on a 2-year state spending plan. House and Senate leaders did not officially meet yesterday after failing to reach an agreement last week. The state legislature is scheduled to adjourn for the year, April 12th. If lawmakers do not approve a budget by then, Republican Governor Matt Bevin would have to call a costly special session. If the legislature does not pass a budget by June 30th, parts of state government would shut down. Federally mandated programs such as Medicaid and K-12 education would continue.
Retired U.S. soccer star Abby Wambach is scheduled to speak at the University of Kentucky later today, just days after she was arrested for allegedly driving under the influence. Wambach is a World Cup soccer champion and a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. She announced her retirement in October. Police in Portland, Oregon arrested Wambach on Saturday and charged her with DUI. She posted an apology on her Facebook page, taking full responsibility for her actions. Wambach is the speaker for UK's Student Activity Board's Women of the World event. She will speak at 8 o'clock tonight at Memorial Hall. That event, by the way, is free and is open to the public.
Well, keep it right here this mid-morning. An adorable find in the Polish mountains. Find out what's next for this bear cub that was found abandoned.
And we're going to be looking across way much cooler conditions with the below average temperatures. And the clouds are getting out of the way. What does that mean for us? We'll have that coming up next.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Looking at live sky camera, it is a beautiful day and so a lot of sunshine. Don't let it fool you, though. It's a little chilly outside. We're sitting there with temperatures still in the 30s for many locations. We're at 36 now in Mount Sterling, and that goes for Moorhead in Rowan County. You look southbound, still in the 30s. A couple of 40s sprinkled in here and there. Far southern half of our viewing area, Monticello, 40 degrees. Middlesboro, go into Whitley County. You're sitting there holding on to Williamsburg, sitting there in the 40s too. But all in all, it's just that cool air sliding on in. At least we have a lot of sunshine. That's helping us out as we'll have mostly sunny skies, that is, the rest of the day. 49 degrees, lower 50s down south. That's the way it's going to be heading off toward the evening hours. There's nothing really going on that will affect you today, except for maybe take a light coat before you take off. Tomorrow morning we'll start in the 30s, but it is above freezing, so no real issues as we travel off into tomorrow morning. Then we head for our 3-day threat tracker. Tomorrow, most of us, virtually all of us, will have 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Some of us a little bit higher than that, close to 50 miles per hour. And that's going to pump in some warmer air. We'll be there in the 60s. And then here comes some showers and thunderstorms that will be making their way through. No severe weather expected with this. Mainly just some showers here and there with a couple of rumbles. But it's all about the wind tomorrow. It'll be gusty, much like what you felt there on Saturday. Remember how windy Saturday was. Thursday into Friday, chilly showers there on Thursday. Then we hit Friday with some chilly rain and also some snow mixed in on Friday into your Saturday, which is not good news if you have any plans heading off towards your weekend. It's that Friday and Saturday time frame where we could have a few flakes in the forecast, and that's just going to be the case there as we travel off towards your weekend. The longer this system takes to get in here on Friday, the better opportunity that we have for it to stick around throughout much of your Saturday. So you really wanted to get in here quick on Friday and then move it on out and have a much better Saturday and Sunday. But unfortunately, it's just kind of slowing down, guys. So we do have those chances of snow flakes at least flying around on Friday and off into Saturday now. Remember, yesterday, Saturday didn't have that chance, but now it does because that system is slowing down. Things will change.
Be contained
yeah,
to at least
really
just one day.
Yeah,
you know,
wouldn't that be nice? Just put it one day.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Get it on out of here.
Gotten out on us a little bit here.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Micah.
Well, foresters in the mountains of Poland saved a 2-month-old abandoned bear cub, which was close to death.
Cute, too. 3 days ago, the female bear cub was found extremely exhausted, cold, very weak. The foresters immediately took the little bear to a veterinary clinic. She's already gained a little weight. Neither veterinarians nor foresters know what the future of this little bear cub will be, whether she will be able to live in the wild or will have to be put in a zoological garden or what exactly at this point. But right now they're just taking care of her.
Oh, but just to be found that way. Remember the old comic books with Smokey the Bear found in the tree clinging there? Kind of the same thing, saving a cub like that. Well, Gloria Vanderbilt and Anderson Cooper open up about their private lives, and The Jungle Book becomes a live-action adventure.
Suzanne Marquez has your eye on entertainment.
Batman will battle more than Superman this year with the upcoming Batman the Killing Joke.
He's insane. It's a mistake to think you know what he'll do.
Based on the iconic 1988 graphic novel, the film stars the voices from Batman the Animated Series, including Kevin Conroy as the Caped Crusader and Mark Hamill as the Joker. It will be released on DVD later this year. The stars of the new live-action film, The Jungle Book, hit the red carpet in Hollywood. Ben Kingsley and Lupita Nyong'o are among the all-star cast who lent their voices to Mowgli's animal friends in this telling of Rudyard Kipling's story.
Man is forbidden!
The film also stars the voices of Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson, and the late Gary Shandling. It opens nationwide April 15th. And one of New York's most famous socialites went before the cameras with her almost as famous son. Gloria Vanderbilt and Anderson Cooper attended the premiere of the HBO documentary Nothing Left Unsaid.
When my mom turned 91, I decided, I want to change the conversation that we have. I want there to be a new way that we talk and relate to each other and learn about each other.
Nothing Left Unsaid premieres on HBO April 9th. And that's your Eye on Entertainment. Suzanne Marquez, CBS News, Hollywood.
Well, keep it right here. You're going to be tapping your toes during a musical that is coming to Winchester.
A preview of Smoke on the Mountain coming up on WKYT. And tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $57 million. Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot, $148 million.
Welcome back in. It's mid-morning on WKYT. We're glad you're with us here on this Tuesday. Toe-tapping music takes the center stage in a musical that is coming to Winchester. Smoke on the Mountain will be coming to the Leeds Center for the Arts.
We're joined by Tracy Miller, Winchester Council for the Arts president, along with actors Caitlin Leonard and Ross Carter to tell us more about it. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having us. And Tracy, tell us about this this new show and this exciting partnership, really, that you have underway.
And it's a very exciting partnership. This show has been on our radar for some time. They have sold this show out in several venues here in Kentucky. And of course, the Waltemeyers are a wonderful family whose reputation precedes itself. And so we were so thrilled when Greg called and said, hey, how would you like to partner with us? And we said, absolutely, because, a rising tide only raises all ships. So we are so happy to be working with them.
What do you think it is about this musical that sets it apart from others?
I think it's probably the honesty, and I think also it's the authentic old-time gospel music, and having a live band and live singers is always very exciting in a venue.
Oh, sure, it makes a big difference on the stage. Ross, tell us about the music in the show.
Oh, well, you mentioned that it's toe-tapping, and it really is. Now, this is gospel music, and the story involves a family's gospel singing group. But the gospel songs are across a wide variety of musical styles, so they don't all sound alike. There's even a cowboy song that's a gospel
appealing
song.
to everyone.
Yeah, and so lots of variety in the musical styles. Lots of good old-fashioned harmony singing, and we've got fiddle and banjo to back it up. So it's really a wonderful evening for people who enjoy that old-time music.
Yeah, so they'll have a good feeling as they head out. Caitlin, what has been the most interesting part of preparing for this? What have you enjoyed the most?
Oh, well, everyone's been talking about the music. I do want to say I grew up singing this sort of thing. I think a lot of people in the South can relate to growing up in VBS, Vacation Bible School, and singing this with our grandparents. That's been wonderful. I think another part as far as the drama is concerned is sort of finding the comedic moments in sort of this homespun setting and balancing that with the drama, and I think the show has a really good balance of both.
Oh, sounds like a fantastic show coming up. And Tracy, this is going to be held coming up for several days, right?
Yes, it's this coming Friday, which is the 8th, 9th, and 10th, and then the next weekend, which is the 15th, 16th, and 17th, 7:30 on Friday and Saturday, 2:30 on Sunday. Tickets at leadscenter.org or 744-6437.
Sounds like you're up to some big things at the Leeds right now.
We are. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for people to get out and see that and enjoy a wonderful show. Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, keep it right here this mid-morning.
Going to check into the Mr. Food Test Kitchen next and see what you could whip up here in the middle of the week. A little later today, it's WKYT News at noon. We're working on it right now.
New details about the FBI arrest of Eastern Kentucky attorney Eric Kahn.
We're also learning more about the victim of a deadly crash on Lexington's New Circle Road.
News, weather, and sports ahead at noon on WKYT. Well, we're taking you into the kitchen today. Enjoy the fresh taste of a homemade dish with a recipe that combines sweet and tangy flavors.
Today in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, it's crisp cucumber salad.
Here in the Test Kitchen, we think salad should be part of almost every dinner. But night after night, if you don't mix things up, it can get pretty mundane. So I figured I would share a simple cucumber salad that always gets rave reviews. We start by trimming the ends off a couple of cucumbers. As for peeling them, that's up to you. But for me, I like to stripe them with a peeler. As for the easiest way to slice them, we could use a sharp knife. But if you have a mandolin, now would be a good time to dig it out. To that, we add some thinly sliced scallions and a good amount of chopped red bell pepper. Now, in a separate bowl, we make our dressing by combining some sour cream, white vinegar, a bit of sugar, and a little salt and pepper. Once that's mixed, we'll toss this with the veggies so that all the flavors can blend together. What's nice about this is we can make it and then let it sit in the fridge so it's ready when we are. And whether we serve it as is or over some mixed greens, get ready for a fresh tasting salad. So here's what I suggest. Go online and get the recipe for our crisp cucumber salad so you'll have it on hand when you feel like you need a change of pace. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a crisp and refreshing way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, of course, that sounds nice and springy, and the weather doesn't feel nice and springy.
We'll get all those spring vegetables when it gets warm enough for them to grow, right?
When we finally have a chance, and it's not, we've been getting warm, but then it knocks it down the next day, and then it gets warm the next day, and it knocks it back down, and this is not changing. Upper 40s, lower 50s today. We get back in the 60s tomorrow, but really gusty winds. If you date back to this past Saturday where it was 50-plus mile-per-hour winds, we'll have that in some spots for tomorrow. And not only that, but then we'll throw some rain into that. Showers and thunderstorms later on that afternoon and evening. Then we head back down on Thursday, back to the 40s with some chilly showers. But I will tell you this one lasts a little bit longer than the one we're going through now. This cold shot's going to last about 3 to 4 days. That'll take us all through the weekend. Now, there are several questions with the system on Friday and into Saturday. And when I say several questions, What's the timing on it? How much are we going to be expecting? Is it going to be rain first or snow? If it's all snow, when does it start and when are we going to expect that to move on out? Because we got a big weekend in store for Keeneland.
Oh, yes, we do.
So there
Absolutely.
are a lot of questions going into this system coming up toward the weekend. I'm going to give you updated information coming from these weather models, and I'll put it into my forecast coming up at noon.
Well, I'll say this. You definitely need sunglasses if you're around Micah because of his socks.
Yeah.
The brightest socks out there. Whoa, they're pretty. All right.
I want to thank you for joining us for Mid-Morning. Invite you back for WKYT News at noon when we'll have all the latest.
Enjoy your day. We'll see you back here at noon.